This contains adult content. Welcome to the audiobook experience of original books written by J.C. Lourdes. This is a Coins and Connections production, narrated by Ari Nova. If you would like to purchase the explicit version of this book, go to bit.ly/JCLOURDES. Introduction. This erotic short story is sure to captivate your imagination. So grab your favorite person or get comfortable on your own. Enjoy. Whether you identify as male or female, there will be something exciting for you in this book. Maybe a fantasy of yours will come to life in these pages. I want you to start reading with an open mind. Now let's get down and dirty. Chapter 1. Chino. As I laid across the bed on my stomach, Chino pulled me toward the end by my legs. I gasped, surprised, and said, "Oh, so it's like that?" With quiet confidence in his eyes, he replied, "There's no need for us to waste any time." Me and Chino had only been seeing each other for about a month. We were still getting to know each other, talking for hours, sharing stories, and falling into that early rhythm where everything feels new. That night, I was just stopping by to say hello. I'd come straight from dinner with one of my friends. What was supposed to be a quick visit turned into something much more. I had on a fitted bodycon dress that hugged every curve of my 36-28-38 frame. I loved dresses like that, the kind that made me feel confident and beautiful. I always joked and called them my just-in-case dresses. Chino drew me closer, his touch deliberate and warm. His voice dropped lower as he whispered something that made me blush. The air between us grew heavy, thick with anticipation. Every movement felt intentional, slow, careful, filled with quiet intensity. The way he touched me, the way he looked at me, it all felt like he was memorizing me. The moment deepened, our rhythm finding its own pace, slow, steady, unspoken. I could feel my heart racing, my breath catching as he held me close. When it was over, I lay there catching my breath, my pulse still steadying. His hand rested on my back, steady, comforting. For a second, it felt real, like maybe we were more than what we said we were. Then, the door opened. A man's voice broke through the quiet. "I got your girl next, right? Like we talked about?" My heart dropped. I froze, confusion rushing through me. "Excuse me?" I said, my voice trembling. Chino's eyes darted between me and his roommate. He looked uneasy, almost guilty. "Lydia, I'm late 2 months' rent," he said quietly. "You don't mind, do you?" That moment changed everything. Chapter 2. Leonard. "What in the world, Chino? You set me up!" Lydia's voice shook with fury. She stood frozen, caught between disbelief and humiliation. Chino looked away, his face tight with regret. "It's not like that," he muttered, voice low. Leonard lingered near the doorway, amused by the chaos he'd helped create. The more upset Lydia became, the more entertained he seemed. Lydia snatched a t-shirt from the edge of the bed and pressed it against her mouth, trying to calm herself and wipe away the moment. When she turned back, Leonard was still standing there, unbothered, that smug grin never leaving his face. Their eyes locked for a long second. Anger mixed with something she didn't want to admit was attraction. She pushed the thought away, grabbed her keys, and brushed past him on her way out. "Lose my number, Chino!" she shouted over her shoulder. Leonard chuckled. "You got what you wanted, man, but rent's still due Friday. Otherwise, no roof." Friday. Leonard found Lydia's number close to midnight. Chino's things were gone, and the apartment felt strangely empty. He hesitated before dialing, but curiosity got the better of him. When she answered, her voice was low, tired, still beautiful. "This is Leonard," he said, trying for charm. "The roommate." Lydia sat up in bed, wondering why he was calling so late. She hadn't been able to forget the mess between them, or the way he'd looked at her that night. "It's late," she said cautiously. "What do you want?" He exhaled slowly. "Just making sure you're all right." "Thought maybe we could talk." His tone was smooth, teasing at the edge of something dangerous. Lydia hesitated. Part of her wanted to hang up. Another part wanted to see what would happen if she didn't. After a pause, she said, "Fine." 15 minutes. When she arrived, the June air was heavy and warm. She'd changed into something simple but daring, a small act of revenge wrapped in confidence. Leonard opened the door, leaning against the frame, that same grin on his face. "Didn't think you'd actually come," he said. She stepped inside. The air between them shifted instantly, thick with unspoken energy. "Where's Chino?" she asked. "Gone. Moved out," Leonard replied. "It's just me now." Their eyes met, and for a second, neither spoke. The tension did the talking. He reached for her hand, drawing her close until the space between them disappeared. Everything that had been anger turned into something heavier, unresolved, reckless. Lydia told herself it was about payback, about taking back control. But as his breath met hers, she wasn't so sure anymore. The moment blurred. Heat, motion, heartbeats. Then she caught sight of something glowing red in the corner. Record. Her body went cold. Chapter 3. Lydia. Here I go again. Another mess I managed to walk right into. I came over thinking it would be simple, just a night of distraction, and now there's a red light blinking in the corner. My heart dropped. "You're recording me?" I snapped. Leonard lifted his hands, half grinning, half defensive. "Relax. It's nothing serious. I just like to rewatch my moments." I stared at him in disbelief. "Rewatch? You could have said that from the start. Be honest with me next time." The air between us shifted, anger mixing with the kind of tension that never knows when to quit. Lydia tried to regain control, to move the chaos to the bedroom where at least she could think straight. But even there, another camera waited, its lens catching the light. She flipped on the switch. "What is this, Leonard? Do I look like someone auditioning for a movie?" He looked embarrassed now. "I didn't mean anything bad by it," he said quietly. Her jaw tightened. "Then turn it off." "Right now." He did. The room went still, and somehow, in that silence, emotions collided. Frustration, curiosity, heat. Lydia exhaled, shaking her head. "You really don't know how close you came to being kicked out your own place." The next morning, sunlight poured through the blinds. Lydia blinked awake, disoriented. She'd meant to leave hours ago, but exhaustion had caught up with her. Leonard's voice drifted from the kitchen. "Morning, beautiful." She looked down, realizing she was still wrapped in one of his shirts. "Does this man ever wear clothes?" she thought, biting back a smile. Part of her wanted to leave quietly, but another part, stubborn, reckless, lingered. Something about him still pulled at her, no matter how wrong it felt. He stepped closer, brushing a kiss against her shoulder. "Stay," he murmured. For a second, she almost did. Almost. But then reality crashed back in. Lydia slipped away, gathering her things with shaking hands. "I've got to go," she said quickly, reaching for the door. "Have a great day," Leonard called after her. The words stung more than they should have. By the time Lydia hit the road, the morning sun was blinding. Halfway home, her gaslight blinked on. "Of course," she muttered under her breath. She pulled into a crowded 7-Eleven, wearing what could only be described as the wrong outfit for a pit stop. Horns honked, voices called, and someone yelled something she chose to ignore. She kept her focus on the pump, eyes down, until she felt a presence behind her. A warm breath, a shadow stretching across the pavement. She turned slowly and froze. It was him. Chapter 4. The Pastor. "Well, Pastor, that's quite a Bible you've got there." Her joke slipped out before she could stop it, trying to ease the tension of what she'd just walked into. He smiled, studying her outfit from head to toe. "Do you need any assistance getting out of those clothes and into something more appropriate for Sunday service?" He reached into his pocket and handed her a thick envelope. "Isn't your rent due?" Lydia wanted to laugh at the irony but kept her composure. She accepted the cash with a quick nod. "Past due," she said proudly. As he turned to go, his hand brushed against her hip. "My place, 8 o'clock, he said with a wink. "I'll be there," she answered, batting her lashes. The pastor had always been complicated. Lydia met him a year earlier when she was struggling to keep her life together. He'd helped, financially, emotionally, and in ways that blurred too many lines for a man of the cloth. He wasn't the picture of holiness, but he knew how to make a woman feel cared for. 6 months of dinners, late-night phone calls, and whispered secrets. When it ended, she hadn't been bitter. It had been a sweet arrangement that simply ran its course. Seeing him again at the gas station felt like fate. Or maybe temptation wearing a suit. She arrived at his house right at 8. Nothing much had changed. Same white columns, same long driveway, but the cars were newer. Lydia wore one of her favorite dresses, classy but cut close enough to remind him what he'd lost. When the door opened, it wasn't the pastor standing there. It was another woman. Tall, poised, confident, and dressed like she had been expecting company. "Hello, sexy," the woman said with a smile, handing her a glass of champagne. "We've been waiting for you." Lydia froze. "We?" she asked slowly. The woman just gestured toward the hallway. "Come on in." Inside the bedroom, the pastor lay stretched across the bed, wrists loosely cuffed, grin wide as ever. "Welcome, Lydia," he said smoothly. "You've been on my mind. When I saw you again, I knew I had to bring you back, and bring someone who could keep up." Lydia blinked, piecing it together. The woman stepped closer, introducing herself as Sydney. "Let's start over," Sydney whispered. "Hi, I'm Sydney." Before Lydia could react, Sydney's lips brushed her cheek, the faint taste of strawberry gloss lingering in the air. The moment hung between them, tense, electric, unexpected. Lydia's breath caught in her throat. This was uncharted territory, but something inside her said, "Don't run." Hours later, laughter and candlelight filled the room. Whatever had happened there was more about release than sin, about people trying to feel alive, even for a moment. When Lydia left, the pastor walked her to the door and pressed an envelope into her hand. "I hope we can make beautiful music again soon," he said softly. He kissed her forehead. Lydia smiled, shaking her head. "You never change." Chapter 5. Rent Paid. Man, why can't I stop thinking about this woman? Sydney stayed on my mind, cool, confident, mysterious. The way she moved, the way she spoke, it all replayed like a song I couldn't turn off. Just as I sank back into my pillows, my phone buzzed. Unknown number. Normally I'd ignore it, but something told me to answer. "Hello?" I said, trying to sound calm. A soft voice slid through the speaker. "Well, hello? Sexy? Did you think I was finished with you?" My brow lifted. That voice, I knew it. Sydney? In the flesh, baby. Tomorrow night, my place, midnight. Don't be late. Before I could respond, the line went dead. A moment later, a text appeared. Midnight, 234 Town Hill Road. I just stared at the screen, shaking my head. Now I really couldn't get her out of my mind. The next morning, I woke up early, determined to prepare myself for whatever Sydney had planned. Spa day, full reset, hair, nails, the whole deal. If she noticed details, I was going to make sure she saw me at my best. By evening, I felt new, calm, confident, maybe even dangerous. Dinner was light and the bubble bath even lighter. Before I left, instinct told me to be smart. Grab a little cash, keep my guard up. You never know how the night might go. The address led me to a sleek condo by the beach, lights glowing soft behind tinted glass. My pulse quickened as I climbed the steps. Whatever this night was, it wasn't ordinary. The door opened, and there she was, Sydney, wearing silk that caught the light just enough to steal my breath. She smiled. Right on time. I smiled back, stepping closer. The air between us was thick, charged. But before I could say a word, a cold voice came from behind. Rent paid. Something hard pressed against the back of my head. My heart stopped. I turned slowly. Chino. The end. I hope you enjoyed this audiobook experience. If you would like to purchase the explicit version of this book, go to bit.ly/JCLOURDES. Past Due Rent is a Coins and Connections production, written by J.C. Lourdes and narrated by Ari Nova.